Welcome to Read 'em and Weeb. This is episode 3 of our review and discussion of Toradora. Disclaimer, this is not an alternative for the manga. If you want to read it, I recommend reading it yourself, buying it at a local bookstore, or if you need to, buying it online, reading it yourself. We are not meant to be an alternative.
We support the official release.
Yes. Hey everybody, welcome back to Read 'em and Weeb. My name's Davie. This is my friend Esau. Welcome to episode 3 of Toradora. We will be covering chapters... Volume 3, chapters 15 through 23? 24. No bonus chapter, this one.
Nope.
15 through 24. Yeah, so we ended off on the last one. We were talking about how this new character, the model, was... Amy was confronting... or not confronting, she was just trying to win over...
seduce. She's trying to seduce Ryuji.
Yeah, Ryuji. And it's funny because she doesn't know that he knows that she's a bad person. And we can really dive into this character in this volume. This volume, when I was reading it, I was like, this is really where I got hooked because the first two I really enjoyed. It didn't really have the issues that the other two manga had for me where, well, Dragon Ball has its issues in the beginning. And Pokemon's first volume was so all over the place, it was really hard for me to kind of sink in. It feels like these volumes really have me hooked from the get-go, which is really nice. Yeah, I mean, this I see you moving in the corner of my eye, and then I look up and I just see you doing things. So yeah, we will... Sorry, you distracted me. What the fuck?
I stopped distracting you.
I know. And then you started looking in the book. I forgot what I was going to say in the first place. But yeah, Amy is a character who I'm really glad that we get to kind of dive in a little more and see her interactions with like normal people. Because she was super mean to like Taiga, which we kind of went over last time. And we see how she is with like everyone else, like other girls as well. She's very like fake. And it's interesting because we get to see her kind of pushed a little more. I think I'm going to jump ahead here, but one of my favorite scenes that I read was when Taiga and Minori were really going on, like really getting on her for like saying she doesn't diet. And then we get this really funny JoJo pose. They really like to play with Minori's like character design and really just kind of make her
not just
different
her
styles.
character design, but like everyone's, because
everyone's for sure, but
Taiga's as well.
Everyone's for sure, but I really think they like to do it with Minori a lot. Like there's scenes where she just randomly is in a different art style, and I think it's really fun. And it works for her bubbly character because it's really funny. This is also like the first time we've ever seen her just be like flat out mean.
Yeah, so she's bragging like.
I'll put that panel that I'm talking about on the screen. It's really funny.
Yeah, so she's bragging like she's skinny to these other two people. Taiga and Minori are not in the conversation.
Not at all.
And she's like, oh yeah, I just kind of eat whatever I want. Don't need to diet. I just have a high metabolism. And the two other girls are kind of dejected. And these motherfucking diet police unbutton like the bottom of her shirt. They untuck it. I don't remember. And then they show that she's got some flub too. Which is completely fine.
Yeah.
But like, don't lie and say that you're completely like you're perfectly skinny. You got a perfect body because you don't need to diet.
Yeah, because one is like as a model, it's like unhealthy to say that.
Yeah.
But it's also really funny because like they're being really mean about it.
Yeah.
Which is funny because we know she's a bad person, but it's one of those things where it's like, does that make it okay to like do that to somebody?
Yes.
However, it is for jokes and it is funny. It's written really well.
As you guys have shown, it's okay to call people fat.
Yeah, I mean, if the comments can do it all the time, then why can't I? But it's also just like it felt really weird to see Minori in that.
Yeah, Minori in that situation, but
being the antagonist.
It was really funny.
It is really funny, and I want to see that animated. I think I'm gonna go out of my way to like find that episode, because it's so, and that's like one scene where they're playing with different styles a lot. It's just so fun, and they really get to play around with like these children are really in their own world at this point.
I get to play around with these children.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't laugh like that.
Ooh. um, you took me out of my train of thought.
Play around with these children.
Yeah. Fuck up. Um,
And the fact that they're not entirely mature.
yeah,
So doing stuff like this is a very childish thing. Obviously, we as adults know that. But this is kind of their being like, hey, this might be how. This isn't how, all children react, all fucking high schoolers. This is just how some people are. They're very uppity with their look at me, I'm perfect without even trying attitudes. And sometimes they're not. They're fucking liars. And while it's not always right to call them out like this is just a way you can.
yeah.
This is a guide on how to do it.
They play it up for sure. And I think it's also like, sorry, I had to look at the recording.
Anime is very hyperbolic. Don't use it as a life goal or a life guide.
But it's also just like commenting on like they're even like it's fine, like just be real, like you don't have to. Because you see that the girl she was talking to, the two girls that she's talking to, when she says like, "Oh, I don't diet, I just have a fast metabolism," like there's no secret to it. They immediately feel like awful, you know?
They're dejected,
Yeah.
destroyed morally, physically, and emotionally. I saw it.
So it's really funny that they get to have fun and be like, "Hey, you know, don't lie, let's have fun with it." And it's a scene that like has that like nice subtext to it while also managing to like be fun, you know?
Yeah. Also, the reason why is because there's actually a reason why they're doing this. They, and by they I mean Ryuji and Taiga, actually caught her buying a fuck ton of junk food from the convenience store the day before, the night before. And the reason why she does diet. That's the thing. The reason why she's not now is we later find out she stopped modeling temporarily for a reason. We'll go into that later, but she stopped modeling temporarily, so she doesn't need to worry about her figure at the moment. So she's kind of just spreading misinformation for the sake of doing so.
Yeah. And then so we'll get more into why again later, like you said. One thing I also want to bring up is like it is now that she's in the mix, we get back to kind of seeing how Ryuji and Taiga just kind of you know not work together, but like operate now that they're kind of just like friends.
Yeah.
We get to see that like she's became like so used to being there that Ryuji's mom is like now knows her on like a name basis, and like they just like hang out there all the time.
They're
and
homies.
and they're homies, and like she's aware of that. And the mom sees it as like a platonic friendship too, which is like nice. Because she says she's like, "Oh, they're becoming really good friends." And it's like, okay, this is like a platonic thing that they do, and it's like their new norm, and it's they're now comfortable with that, which is nice. Which I like that change of like now they were nervous that everyone thinks they're dating, but now it's like, oh no, we're friends, we're cool with it, and this is our new norm, and we're comfortable.
Yeah. And I know David said that he doesn't feel like they should be together at this moment, and that makes sense. They got to develop and grow as individuals and as friends, which I think this is showing. I think that's the goal of this manga, is to show them develop into a relationship rather than just being like, "Hey, I love you from first sight, let's date." I'm so sorry. It was part of the bit. It's fine. It's already been.
Yeah, I tossed like 10 of mine.
Yeah, that's true. You did do that. But that was your bit.
Yeah.
I don't care about your bits. I care about my bit.
You bit my bit.
All right, it's fine. And that's what it's showing. There's a lot of manga that's kind of like, "Oh, I love you from first sight." I'm not going to do that to this one. I don't know you very well, blah, blah, blah. And even this one, as much as I love it, people develop feelings slowly and for specific reasons, usually because you mean something. You shouldn't like someone from their two-dimensional traits. Like now I'm in love with David. Like that burp. Oh, fuck. It's so hot. Jokes aside. And this displays that, obviously. Like, we're adults. We know that. We know that. This shows that in a very human way.
Yeah.
It's not a very like, "Oh, you're my first friend ever in this school, and I love you because you're very generic nice guy. Oh my God."
Yeah. And I think it's like, if it keeps going in the direction of like them learning more about each other and finding a place where like, okay, we can, if we want to be together, it's like they're now in a place where that's fine.
Yeah.
Then I'm like all for it. And And I think it's interesting that like their new normal is not typical for people their age at this moment, but it's fine because it works for them.
Well, neither was their old normal.
Neither was their old normal. I get that. But now it's like in a place of like, okay, we're like cool now. Like it's not an obligation. We're not, this is not a transaction. We just hang out because we enjoy each other's company. Like this is fine.
Tyga likes my food. I enjoy cooking.
Yeah.
This is
But also like
beneficial.
but it's also like they find each other like funny, you know?
Yeah.
They can have heart to hearts. And so to me it's implied that like them talking like that is now also a new normal. They can just do that off screen and it's not a big deal.
For example, Amy talks shit to Tyga saying how why would Yasuku like you if you slapped his childhood friend type thing. And then, she leaves and then Ryuji, who was outside, goes inside the room and she's crying to him. She's like, do you think she's right? Oh, he's gonna hate me. And Ryuji's like, you know him. He's not gonna hate anybody. He likes her. And everyone's like, she's like, okay.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
you're right. True.
Fuck. Oh, thank you.
Needed to hear that.
Yeah.
I think it's also interesting that it's also interesting that in that scene he also brings up like I saw what happened at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Like we both did. Like you don't gotta worry. And I'm like, you didn't bring that up before?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I gotta find that scene real quick. So she doesn't stop worrying about it.
Which is also like
she also hates that she's short.
Yeah. But it's also like it makes sense that like one person talking to you isn't gonna calm you down right away.
Yeah. Also he smacks her butt here.
Yeah.
She's they're buying some sauce from the market, and for no reason he's like, we gotta go. And she's like, yeah, I heard you the first time, don't slap my rear end. And I went, first of all, who wrote that? Why did you write it like that?
Why do you do that?
You can just call it butt. I meant the phrasing.
Yeah.
Second, like, why did he smack her butt?
Because that's like a low reach too. She's small.
Yeah, he's tall. Like bump her shoulder or something.
Mm-hmm.
He says it to her, to Amy.
What?
He brings it up to Amy.
I swear he brought it up to her as well.
I don't remember.
Maybe I'm mixing it up when she confronts him the first time and is like, "Hey, what are you talking about? Like, what you guys having a little conversation? What's good?
What's up?
Yeah.
Hey.
What it is."
Anyway, we learn a lot about Amy in this episode. Fuck. Episode of the podcast. There we go. I saved it. Saved.
Mm-hmm.
In this volume, we learn about how she's stopping
crime.
Modeling, which is a crime. There should not be child models, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But she's stopping modeling temporarily, and we learned that she actually has a stalker. While Ryuji and Tyga are walking, she clings to Ryuji. She's like, "Please help me!" Like genuine, "Please help me." And they're like, "Okay, like we'll like chill with you. You can stay at one of our places for the night. That way, he doesn't follow you home." And they go, "Which one do you want to be at? The cheap rundown house or like the high end condominium?" She's like, "Obviously the high end condo." They're like, "All right, cool. You're staying with Tyga."
Like, ooh, you got me.
Ah, fuck. So obviously he does, or she does rather. And apparently, like Tyga like tortured her the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's funny because before that, she's like, "Oh, I changed my mind. I don't want to fucking go in there." And she's like, "Take this seriously." Tyga's like, "Listen, this is serious. Like, we're gonna go stay there. There's a stalker out here. So like,
shouldn't matter who you're talking to, like whose house you're staying at. Just go stay there."
Yeah. Little do we know, or it's pretty much like based off of what we know about her, she's also gonna fuck with her.
Yeah.
Which is really funny.
So she makes her read, make impressions of every Pokemon doing something stupid. And then she recorded them all.
Yeah. Really funny. But it also brings up an interesting question of like, this really bad person is going through something that is very real and very traumatic. And so it's like, as the reader, because it was setting us up to make us hate this person.
Yeah.
But now we're in a place where we sympathize with them because it's an interesting question of like, does she deserve this? And the answer is no.
No one deserves crime.
Yeah, no one deserves this. Um, but it's interesting to immediately flip the story and make her sympathetic like right away. Um, and we get like, and it's not like a one-off thing too. Like we before we know it's like a stock, like a has
Oh
been happening for a while.
yeah, Taiga hits this stalker with a trash can
Yeah,
right here. Um, and then he runs away, and she's afraid she'll come back. He'll come back rather.
yeah.
Um, and it's really interesting because of just the way that Yusuke interprets this. He's
Mm.
like, she can't handle Taiga. I'm gonna make them stay together as friends. That way they're forced. That way Amy's forced to be her real self. And I'm like, man, you really hate your friends.
Yeah. No,
All
like
of them don't want this.
what is there to gain from this?
Yeah. So
Which
he
also like leaks out like things where he's like, okay, he's mature, but he also doesn't quite understand interpersonal relationships.
right. Because he goes to ask Taiga, like, hey, can you eat lunch with Amy? Or he
Mm.
asks Ryuji to say it. I don't remember which. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What matters is that's how the flow goes.
Yeah.
So she's like, fine, we'll do it. And Amy's like, no, no thanks.
I don't want this. Why would you think I wanted this?
And then that's where she gets threatened with the recordings of all the fucking Pokemon sounds, which is really funny.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just an effort to make her be herself. And Yasuku's not a monster. He's like, we're going to join them. Hey, Ryuji, can you go with me? I don't want to be the only guy at this table. And Ryuji's like, yes, I get to talk to Minori.
Well, no. At first, he's like, what the fuck does that have to do with me?
Yeah, that's
Like,
my problem.
I'm going to have a quiet lunch by myself. This is actually great. This has been the first time I've had a meal by myself in a while.
Kind of miss being a loner, man.
Yeah. And he's like, but I can't be the only guy there. That's weird. You're weird. No, come on. And so he goes, and it's like, it's where like they see their bento boxes and they're exactly the same.
Yeah.
And they're like, you guys have the same, oh no, she's like, what's her name? Amy is like, I'm just gonna ask, why do you guys have the same bento box? And then it's like quiet. They're like, oh, we don't have a good reason for this.
And then Taiga's like, who the fuck cares? And then she just eats them both.
Eats them both.
Based.
Shitty of her.
Oh yeah. My
He's
bad.
hungry.
Not based.
Because he's hungry.
Yeah.
But then, what's his name? Glasses guy. He's like, man, Taiga, you eat a lot. You eat a fuck ton. God, you eat so much.
He's a YouTube comment. Fat.
My favorite of these fat comments has just some guy who said Jim. That's all I said.
Yeah.
I laughed.
It got me.
It got me.
Anyway. So that's what he does. He points at her and goes, Jim. And then she volunteers for a cleanup, neighborhood cleanup.
Yeah. So
to be closer to him.
Glasses man. And she makes Ryuji.
She doesn't make him. She signs him up and he has to go because it's like credits worth.
Yeah. So she makes him.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because, okay, so one thing, the only problem I've had so far with character designs in this point was the class representative who was yelling through the megaphone. For a second, I thought that was Amy.
That's her, right? Is that Amy or is that the class president? Because I still can't tell.
Because I think if I saw them both side by side, I think Amy has the bangs. She has the bangs. Whereas the actual class representative has like a lot more, like her hair is a little different. Yeah, there's like a spike at the top, and then the bangs aren't as like in the Okay, now I'm confused with that picture. No, that's the class rep. That has to be.
Yeah.
They can't see what I'm talking about.
Yes, they can.
But the bangs are a lot more pronounced, and then Amy has a part in her forehead.
She has a little ahigao.
Yeah.
Ahigao. Ahigao.
Yeah, he has an ahoge.
She's also like got like that sassy confidence.
I saw a girl walk into a gay bar. Ahoge. I know this girl who likes to fuck a lot of other women. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching.
That's called motherfucking bars. You know nothing about that.
So this issue stems mainly from the fact that hair color is important. Amy has blue hair in the cover, and on the back you can see that the class president has black hair. Manga are black and white. The manga are black and white.
Their hair is just very similar, besides the differences we mentioned.
So, what you call it? Amy's parts here, so her bangs don't go in the center. The past president has short bangs that are uneven, that they go through the center, but they're short in the center as well. So it's very hard to tell.
Yeah, they're the way their character designs were very similar. So at first, I really thought that was Amy.
Yeah.
Until Amy was in the crowd.
Yeah.
And then I went, "Who was that?"
I was still confused. In fact, until you brought it up right now, I was confused.
Yeah. That's the only time I've had trouble with any of the character designs, because other than that, they have been very distinct.
Yeah.
Um,
They don't have the same face syndrome.
Yeah,
Their faces are different.
It's strictly their just design.
Yeah.
It's not her face. Because like she was being very abrasive, and I'm like, that can't be her. It's strange.
I was like, this is a weird bit.
Yeah. But they get to, have some moments to like they're picking up trash, and Taiga and
Yasuku.
Huh?
Who?
Taiga and her friend.
Oh,
Minori. They walk off to, pick up trash, and we get a moment with Ryuji and Amy.
In a river. A shitty river.
Yeah. And they get a moment to like talk, and he lets her know like, hey, I know like the real you. Like, I saw it.
I don't think that happens till the house.
Doesn't he tell her like, because they're like by the lake, and he's like, you can just stop being fake with me?
Not quite. It's the stepping in the water first, which is a scene I really like. So she's cleaning up trash. Obviously, this is a whole thing. They're cleaning up trash. God, I hate that I did that. They're cleaning up trash, and Amy accidentally steps into this little shitty creek, obviously full of trash.
Yeah.
Soaking her shoes and socks. And she's absolutely disgusted by this. She's like, oh, get it off. She like throws them. She's like, she hates doing this. She doesn't enjoy cleaning. She gets super mad and whatnot. And she's like, I don't enjoy this. This sucks. I don't want to have to do it anymore. And then she realizes that Ryuji's watching her.
Yeah, she let like the crack slip a little bit.
Yeah, she got like a crazy face right here. I really like it. She's like, you got a problem with that? And she's like, I was kidding. Ahaha. She's like, I'm gonna go have my shoes. Did you fall for it? Ahaha.
It's one of them bits they call it a bit. Laugh.
and then he's like, you don't have to.
Yeah, you can just fucking be honest. Let's be real here.
Yeah. But he doesn't admit that he notices them, or he saw them before. She hasn't realized. I think that happens at the home, but then a bigger problem happens right here. The stalker comes back.
Yeah.
He doesn't see Amy, but Amy sees him. They're hiding. It's raining, and I think Minori and Taiga are looking for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cameraman sees Taiga and just starts taking pictures. He's like, you're really cute. I'm going to take some pictures. And he just starts to take them.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the rain is like stopping here. And she's like, what the fuck? And then she just kicks his camera out of his hand and stomps on it. And she's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Just taking pictures of people without permission?
You're a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, I am just a high school girl.
Like, dude, you're like 40. Go pay your mortgage, bro.
Yeah. Bro, go get some hose.
Yeah. You're weird.
Go watch Read 'em and Weeb, man. God. But Amy sees this and she's like, I don't know how she did that. Like, how did she stand up to him? Isn't she afraid of him? And it's kind of like a learning moment for Amy. I keep looking at you and not into the mic like I should be.
There's like a moment, like you said, like the light bulb hits, and she was like, and granted, this is not the lesson to necessarily learn from this. However, for her sake, she's like, it was that easy. Like, I could have just told him to fuck off,
I
which,
could have just killed him.
granted, in a real world situation, that might be more dangerous than not. Um, in this case, it wasn't, but I don't think that's necessarily a lesson to be like, hey, go up to them. It was in this case, it was like a controlled area where people were around, you know?
It was in a
Um,
scenario where she was approached by Tyga was approached by the stalker,
yeah,
and she defended herself. The issue, you definitely call the cops if you're being stalked. First of all,
yeah,
if they won't listen to you, call the cops more until they listen to you.
yeah. It's a lot easier said than done,
Yeah,
obviously. Because, you know, there's a lot that we could talk about with this case. I just want, like, to clarify that I wouldn't say this is necessarily the um message to take out of it.
yeah,
But for Amy specifically, she's like, I can go up and stand up for myself.
yeah,
And she does. And it leads to the stalker not taking accountability, but being like, oh, you're not the person I thought you were. You're terrible. I hate you. Like, you are the problem. Which these people do not see what they're doing is wrong, you know, which is a problem in itself. But it's interesting to see, like, in this moment, she saw something that she really, like, was envious of with Tyga. Um, and it's a really nice character moment that they have here where she does stand up for herself, and it's like a moment where, like, kind of the bigger picture what mattered for a moment.
yeah. The thing I really like about this is, like I said, these characters aren't two dimensional. They're fleshed out. I feel like what they're doing makes sense for who
Yeah,
they are. At no point, except for that one scene with Minori, at no point was I like, this doesn't really make sense for this character.
yeah,
But Minori isn't fleshed out yet, is the thing.
yeah.
Minori is kind of like a fucking enigma right now. I have no idea what she is.
I feel like I want the scene with her kind of playing around with, like, Amy and, like, her, you know, body. Uh, how do I say this?
Teasing her.
Teasing her about her appearance, right? And, like, health and diets and stuff.
Her bullying her. This would be what? Teasing her, hazing her.
Yeah,
There's plenty of ways you could have said that that wouldn't
yeah,
have been weird, man.
yeah, yeah. I know. I just accidentally said, like, the weirdest way to say that. Um, I'm hungry, man. Like,
Go get pizza.
yeah.
Read everything recording.
Read them in pizza. um, but
Eat them in weed.
I like to think that this is kind of opening us up to, like, the more mean spirited side of her, because I think if she's just all, you know, good and there's no, like, ounce of, like, like, everyone has, like, a mean
She's not
spirited.
Goku. She's not gone. There is darkness in her heart. Sorry, I hate. Sorry, I'm gonna go back into characters then right now. I hate characters who are the absolute most purest person there is, unless it's in a satirical way.
Yeah,
In I keep bringing this back up. In this, people are very two dimensional, but there is depth to them in some way. The main character, he's the ultimate perfect boyfriend, but he's also like obsessive. Is the thing, not with his girlfriends, but with the way they are perceived by the other people. In fact, he's on multiple occasions gone into a rage when people talk shit, especially on the relationship, which is fine. It's a satirical manga. It's a comedy. The issue comes with characters like Goku specifically in Z. I don't like Z because none of the characters have character, except for Vegeta and Piccolo. That's it. That's literally it. Gohan, kind of, a little bit, sometimes. God, I hate Gohan so much. Sorry, I don't. That's a lie. I hate the way they make
I
Gohan.
was about to say.
What they do with Gohan really fucks him up a lot.
You said that, I was like, you don't want to have this debate, brother.
But Goku is like, there's nothing. Goku, head empty. Hate him. Bulma, not really a character anymore. She's more of a plot point.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a lot of characters, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would argue the most nuanced characters we have are, like, Piccolo, Gohan, and Trunks.
Yeah. And like some of the villains are almost have a character. They're
Mainly in Super.
yeah. A lot of the later villains have character, but in Z, they're just like evil for evil's sake.
And Dragon Ball, or early Dragon Ball, like Tien and Piccolo. Well, Piccolo counts, but Tien was interesting.
Yeah. But Frieza, evil. Why? I don't know.
Well, he's evil Hitler. Oh, that's regular Hitler. Sorry, I meant he's Hitler. I don't know why I said that.
Remember that GT, what you call it? Or that movie where Hitler got released?
Oh, that was Dragon
hell?
Ball. I think that's movie
Janemba.
13. with
Janemba.
Janemba, yeah. And then Goten and Trunks kill Hitler again.
Yeah, it's so
Based
crazy.
Goten and
Yeah.
Trunks.
Anyway, Piccolo, or not Piccolo, Cell, just evil. For slightly more reason. It's because he has all the DNA of evil people. Except it doesn't make any sense because those people didn't have their own motives, and he is not them. He just has their DNA.
Yeah.
You are not of your DNA. Sure, killing Goku is slightly different from that, and that is shown with the abridged, funnily enough. Just that's programmed into them doesn't mean they're evil.
Yeah.
It's just something they gotta do. It's their robots. Boo is just evil.
Yeah.
Mindless being who likes to blow shit up. And that just shows how zero character design comes in villains like that. That's why I liked Naruto's villains, except for Madara, for their character design. Or character motivations, rather. Madara was a little bit weird, and I don't really like him as much. But he wasn't as one-dimensional as Dragon Ball Z villains even then.
I think Madara is held back by the fact that, because my thing is I like Madara. I think he has the coolest like introduction, and then his presence, motivation wise, I think I'm also on the same boat. But his presence is there, and it makes
You don't have to
its
suck
mark.
his dick. I'm talking about motivations.
But I think it sucks for Madara that he's in a series with so many good villains that have
Pain
like
arc is so fucking good, man.
Pain is peak, and then the Zabuza arc is also just fucking awesome.
The thing with Zabuza is like he actually is not that deep.
It really not, but he makes like his impact.
But
he does what he needs to.
Not everyone needs a reason to be evil. That's not what I'm saying. Not everyone needs a good reason to be evil.
Just one that makes sense.
Yeah, just one that makes sense. Zabuza was raised in a village of assassins.
Haku was dealt a bad hand.
Haku was very unlucky.
Yeah.
But Zabuza, literally a ninja school where the way you graduate is to kill people, your friends, your allies.
Mm.
And he didn't even go to that school. I don't know why he's there. But that's like one super fucking cool. It's such a sick backstory, man.
Yeah.
But it also makes sense. It was interesting. It gave him depth. And when he had his little redemption for a little bit, it was like, sure, talk no jutsu, but like the reason why the talk no jutsu isn't like, not this again, is because it makes sense.
Well, because it wasn't that Naruto was like,
he also died.
Yeah, he was also dying. But it was also Naruto wasn't like, hey Zabuza, why can't we just get along? It was like Naruto being frustrated, like, hey, Haku just fucking died and you don't give a shit? Yeah. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then Zabuza was like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yeah. Haku is my family. Yeah, I care. You're an asshole, Naruto.
I'm trying. It is your fault.
I have shark teeth.
Yeah.
Life did not come easy.
That's my only gripe with something like peak Full Metal. A lot of the villains are also like that in Full Metal, that are a little hollow.
I would argue that like because they were they are supposed to be so that some of them can subvert expectation. That's why greed is so interesting, and that's why envy.
Well, I'm not talking about them. I'm just talking about the
father.
Father? What's his name?
Father.
No, he has a name. Homunculus.
No, they're all the homunculus.
No,
he's the first homunculus.
He is homunculus. That is his name.
Then they are the homunculi.
Yeah. I think that's what Hohenheim calls him. Yeah, I know his name. That's how good this is.
Yeah, Hohenheim. And then everyone refers to him as father.
Yeah. Anyway, he's a lot more of a hollow character, in my opinion, because he just wants he wants to eat God. I don't know. Doesn't really matter.
But I feel like that's also like intentional in a way. We'll talk about it more when we actually do cover Full Metal.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that his desires were so surface level, and like he also doesn't really understand what this power is.
Yeah.
And he's called out for that when he does see God, and you know his being is taken away. And that's why I find Father like not interesting, but I find his purpose in the story interesting.
And even that is crazy better than some of the Dragon Ball villains, is what I want to say. First of all, I'm here, kind of here to talk shit on Dragon Ball right now again, or Dragon Ball Z specifically.
I mean, like the villains are still sick. Like the motivations, it's just that they didn't need to have, because Frieza filled what he needed to do. He was a ruler of the planets that took out the Saiyans, and thematically, Goku taking him out and being the Super Saiyan is what mattered. So
Well, yeah,
like that's why Frieza is a staple of anime villains.
Yeah, as a threat, as a story point, Frieza is fantastic. As a character, there isn't much more to go on, though. Yeah. He is just a culmination of his actions.
Yeah.
And that is a problem, in my opinion, of characters need to be more than just a culmination of their actions, unless their actions are guided by something other than I'm doing this because it's the plot, this is how it was written.
Yeah. And I think Frieza would, and this is my opinion, Frieza being in the story would be less of an issue if he had not come back.
Which time?
Either time. I think if Frieza was just this big bad that got defeated by Goku and to be forgotten, because all we see of Frieza is that he's stubborn, he holds a grudge, and
he's racist.
He's racist and refuses to take kindness. Even Goku spared him and he still made the wrong decision. And
he's
prideful and stubborn. And so when he comes back as the robot, it's like, okay, it's cool. Trunks defeats him. He moves on. It was like a fun little thing. And then he comes back in Super, and then they try to give him more of like a personality, which I think for the most part works. But
they are trying their best to do better writing.
Like they're having fun with him.
Yeah.
And now it's fun. But now he's like a threat again, and we don't care.
Know that. We don't know that.
I guess we don't. Well, he was a threat again in the
Resurrection but they killed him again.
They killed him again. And so it's like
when he comes back in,
that's when it got boring to me.
When they bring him back for the third time, or the second time technically, he didn't die the first time. When they bring him back again, he cooled off. He essentially cooled off. Revenge is no longer his goal. It's to be stronger. He's kind of got like a Vegeta mentality now. And that's where I'm like, as cool as that archetype is, you guys are using it a lot.
I wouldn't say he has a Vegeta mentality, because now they're kind of doing it like Vegeta, I guess Z Vegeta. But yeah. We got to see Vegeta kind of like develop a little more.
Oh, Vegeta's been like, this is Vegeta's arc in Super.
Yeah.
Like, I love the way they portray Vegeta now.
Yeah, and now he's remorseful for like the things he's done. I promise we'll get back to Toradora. But it's a bit different for Frieza, because it's just like, now he's training. So now he's like, I can be better if I just put the time in, which is fun. But now it's like, I'm kind of sick of seeing Frieza, and I want to see more villains.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool.
He killed the last villain of the last arc just to be like, look how cool I am.
And then he left.
Yeah,
he's like, I can kill you, but I won't.
Yeah, but that shows he's not just a villain. He wants a fight. He's starting to relish in the cool fight that, that sick fight that he got before. He's starting to he's getting like battle hungry.
Yeah, and if they dive into that a little more, that'd be cool.
Yeah. But the issue is that's just Goku, but evil.
That's just evil Goku. Which I guess if anyone is going to be that foil for Goku, it would be Frieza. But it's also like, okay, we've established that. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, no, we're done. We're done.
We're done. We'll talk about this in the car.
Yeah.
We will. We'll talk about this in the car. We're going to go eat later.
That pizza.
I'm sorry for any Toradora fans that don't give a fuck about Dragon Ball.
Let's talk about, let me get back to my point.
She's Hitler.
She is Hitler. She has a backstory. Her backstory is a lot more in-depth. She doesn't like the way people are. The way she figured out that her personality doesn't mesh well with others. She has to fake it in order to...
Bless
finally,
you.
Jesus Christ. In order to be liked, and that people are easily manipulated by certain aspects. Even when Ryuji doesn't fall for the act that she's giving, I'm sorry, my nose is like dripping. When she realized that Ryuji doesn't like this, I'm so caring, I'm so ditzy personality, she's like, this one doesn't work for you. Okay. So she's going to try something different. And she does. Even after she realized that Ryuji knows what she is like, she's like, all right, I'm still gonna like get this. So she kind of starts to be seductive, a bit more pitiful, less ditzy, and more of like a, hey, I'm honest, like this is who I am.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to know the real me type thing? And she starts to try and seduce him in the most realist sense of, hey, she's all up on his fucking dick, dude.
Yeah.
So this is where she kind of shows that she isn't a good person, but there is a lot more to her than just I'm not a good person.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah. And it allows her to be vulnerable because we've had this like big threat that is the stalker. And now she's able to kind of let the curtain down a little bit.
Yeah.
I like her conversation with Ryuji in his house. This is also the thing I hate the misunderstanding trope
Oh,
like we were
yeah.
talking about, and we have this moment there where she goes in and it looks like she's gonna kiss him, like she's coming on to him.
It looks like they were kissing.
Yeah, and his mom and Taiga, sorry. So it looks like they're kissing, and his mom and Taiga both walk in, and it looks like it's going to be one of those like, oh, it's not what it looks like type, because it starts off that way. It's like, no, but it
In
looks
fact,
like
that is kind of what it just is.
that is what it just is. But it's more so the reaction of Taiga. I thought like, oh, is this going to be like a thing now? No, kind of, because
she's mad about it, and that's where it ends until the bird just starts dying.
Yeah, no, she is mad about it, but she doesn't blow up like it feels like she's going to. She's like, okay, doesn't matter to me. Like it's fine. Like I don't care. To me, I think this shows a few things. One, it's because they're at a point where like they can be honest with each other. So if he's like, hey, it really isn't like that, I hope that they can actually talk about it. Or will this show how the relationship is not, they're not mature enough to have that conversation.
And they're not.
So we're probably going to see the aftermath of that.
We do right now.
Well,
she's yelling how she doesn't care what they're doing. I don't care if you think I would care. Like, there's no reason for me to care. Like, there's that big splash panel, full page panel. Whoa, nope, almost. There's a big full page panel where she's yelling. I don't care one single iota of what you do. What the fuck? I don't care one iota about a single thing you do. If you're deluding yourself, if you think you can ever do anything worthwhile enough for me to even take note. And even her face doesn't feel right in this panel. David will show it, I'm sure. But there it is.
Yeah.
It's cursed, to say the least. And then she turns away. And she's like, I don't care one whit about what you did earlier. I'm going home. And then his bird just goes, oh, better call 911. And it fucking dies. That's where it ends.
Yeah, and to me, it's like they're not mature enough to have this conversation, and I'm hoping that in the next volume they'll kind of actually talk about it while they're both cooled off. But again, they're not mature enough, and it shows me a few things. It's like, one, if that was the case, they're not being honest with themselves of like, oh, okay, we like each other, which is the case. But it's also like, even if that was happening, she's right. She doesn't have really, besides the fact that like she doesn't like her, it's just the fact that she really doesn't have anything to be mad about other than the fact that she doesn't like her.
Well, the issue there is she knows that Amy's a fake.
Yeah.
She doesn't know that he knows or how much he does know.
Yeah.
That's the issue. So if I knew you were dating some Nazi,
you would tell me.
I would tell you.
Yeah. And that's up to me to be like, hey, I thank you for telling me. I hear
if you were
out.
still dating that Nazi, I would have a problem.
It'd be weird if I was like, I don't believe you. Like, why would you tell me that otherwise?
Well, here's the thing. If I saw you almost macking on some Nazi, and I was like, don't be fucking making out with that Nazi, and you were like, no, it wasn't like that. I would believe you.
Yeah.
But let's say if it was our friend, I might not believe him.
Doesn't.
Yeah, I know it doesn't, but that means you're going to bleep it out.
Yeah.
Oh, the visual side for editing, David.
Yeah. Thanks, man. But it's also like there's a level of like, I'm your friend, you can believe me,
Yes,
but it's also like, even if I like, okay, let's say you were a friend of mine.
what if I was bullied, Esau?
Let's say, okay, let's phrase it this way. Let's say that these are just two friends. Take out their relationship with each other and what their personalities are. Two friends. One of them walks in on another friend making out with their friend making out with the girl.
Right.
You can believe you. Nothing happened, and you can believe me. But
Right.
even if there was, that is my right.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's not, that mindset is not with these characters right now. And I think that is also an important mindset of like, even if I was like, what, I can tell you're mad, but like, let's talk about it. Like, what are you
Right.
mad about? Or what about this makes you mad?
And
is it the fact that you don't like her, or is it the fact that there's something else? And I think that's what these characters need to dive into.
well, the thing is, that's the interesting. That's why I like this writing so much.
Mm.
I don't think Taiga knows.
Yeah.
I don't think Taiga gets it.
Yeah.
Taiga doesn't realize she cares a lot about Ryuji, and that I fucking love that.
Yeah, and it's good character writing when like, because people are complicated. You don't know how you feel right away about things,
Right.
and so now
You're often the last person to find out you love somebody.
yeah, and so now it's interesting to see where this character is going and how they're going to deal with their emotions.
I'm
And
gonna have a hard time not reading the next
I want to
6 volumes,
but I'm going to wait, because I need it to be fresh.
I don't.
Uh,
I gotta find the beach scene. I gotta figure out
I
where
gotta
stop
I gotta get to that beach scene, man.
I gotta get in there.
I gotta get in there. I gotta get up there.
I gotta get in there.
There's this weird scene in Prince of Tennis
Okay.
where it's the dub again with one of those like funny like chibi episodes
Mhm.
where they're Western cowboys and they're gonna have like a Western duel.
And then he uses a tennis racket.
No. So they have actual guns, and like, and then they're like, the main character's like, get your game on, and then one of the guys is like, I know that reference, I get it, and then the other character's like, let's duel, and then they start walking away to get their guns ready. It's weird. It's a weird dub, man. They have like phrasing that's like interesting because like the dub is so new that they're like,
The
oh my
new
God,
dub.
he's built different. They say that full seriousness multiple times.
That's so fucking good, man.
And like, they're not wrong. The person is doing something crazy and they're like, because there's one guy who's like super good at acrobatics and then he's doing like acrobatic tennis. So like, he's like actually built different. It's so funny. Good dub. Watch Prince of Tennis.
But more importantly, read Toradora.
Read Toradora. Is there anything else we need to cover for this episode?
I don't know, is there?
I don't know. I'm hungry.
I'm also pretty hungry. So we went through the most important parts. Keep in mind throughout this whole series, Taika still goes over. Like she walked into her house, into Ryuju's house with his mom. Why? I don't really remember.
Oh yeah, like she's like now comfortable with his mom. Like she knows.
They're homies.
Yeah, they're homies.
She's trying to get some from the MILF, and frankly, I'm all for it. Something is her son.
Yeah. It's there's so many things going on now, and it's like I was hooked. I'm like so ready to read the rest.
He's finally weebing.
I'm finally weaving. If you like Toradora,
Buy it.
buy it. Leave recommendations of what we should read in the comments below. And if you're watching on streaming services like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, please leave a review or a 5-star. Leave us 5 stars. Really helps out a lot. And subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. My name is Davie. This has been my friend Esau and I. Read 'em and Weeb. We're going to go get food. Bye.